Hello, hope you're doing well, and welcome to my SMITE 2 Kukulkan guide. The Serpent of the Nine Winds has stormed onto the battleground, bringing with him devastating hurricanes, howling gales, and a whirlwind of destruction. If you're looking to blow away your competition, then Kukulkan might be the right god for you. Kukulkan is a ranged magical nuker who excels at area denial, sustained magical pressure, and massive burst damage. His abilities allow him to zone enemies, slow their movement, and unleash cataclysmic winds that can turn the tide of a battle in an instant. With an emphasis on intelligence, scaling, and mana synergy, Kukulkan rewards smart positioning and well-timed ability usage. Don't forget to subscribe with notifications on so you don't miss my future SMITE 2 guides, as I'll be covering all of the characters in SMITE 2. And also check out my Discord server if you have any questions or want to join a friendly, toxic-free SMITE community. Now let's dive into Kukulkan's ability. Kukulkan's passive ability is Power of the Wind Jewel. This allows him to gain bonus intelligence as he builds items that provide mana. Since this effect doesn't scale using his base mana pool, stacking mana-based items is absolutely crucial to maximizing his damage output. This passive makes mana items not just useful but core to his entire playstyle. Kukulkan's first ability is Zephyr. This ability sends out a powerful gust of wind that explodes upon hitting an enemy, dealing magical damage in a small area. Not only does this ability provide a strong burst of damage, but it also slows the enemy, making it an excellent tool for poking, setting up kills, or stopping enemies in their tracks. Since Zephyr is a key component of Kukulkan's damage output, it should be used frequently to harass enemies and pressure lanes. His second ability is Slipstream. When activated, Kukulkan becomes immune to slows and gains a burst of movement speed that decays over time. However, if this ability is used while inside of his whirlwind, it transforms into a dash that damages and slows all enemies hit, on top of damaging them slightly. This ability also gives Kukulkan some much needed mobility, allowing him to reposition in fights or escape dangerous situations when used correctly. Next is Whirlwind, Kukulkan's most iconic ability. When cast, this ability summons a raging vortex of wind at a target location, applying damage over time to enemies who enter its radius. Even if enemies manage to leave the area, they will continue taking damage. This ability is perfect for controlling space, clearing minion waves, and forcing enemies to reposition. The longer someone stays in Whirlwind, the more damage they will take, making it a powerful zoning tool. With this being your best chance at wave clear, it should be the ability that you max out first. And finally, Kukulkan's ultimate is Spirit of the Nine Winds. Upon activation, Kukulkan summons a massive spirit dragon that travels in a straight line, dealing enormous magical damage to all enemies in its path. This ultimate pierces through targets and can hit multiple enemies at once. Any enemies stuck are also knocked back, creating massive disruption in team fights. With proper positioning, Spirit of the Nine Winds can wipe out entire teams or turn the tide of a battle in an instant. Now that you understand Kukulkan's abilities, let's cover how to best make use of them. Kukulkan's ability combos are straightforward yet highly effective. His most reliable sequence starts with Zephyr, followed by a basic attack, then Whirlwind, another basic attack, and finally Spirit of the Nine Winds. This combo allows Kukulkan to initiate with Zephyr, applying burst damage and a slow to his target, immediately following up with a basic attack, maximizing his damage potential. Then, placing Whirlwind beneath the slowed enemy forces them to take damage over time, making it much harder for them to escape. Another basic attack keeps the pressure up, and then finishing with Spirit of the Nine Winds ensures a devastating final blow. It's important to note that abilities and combos can be added or omitted based on the situation. Sometimes you'll want to start with Whirlwind if you need to zone an enemy before engaging. Other times you might save Zephyr for when an enemy is already slowed or ensure you hit your abilities more easily. Or you might want to omit the ultimate altogether if it's unlikely you're going to hit it, or it's unlikely that it will result in a kill. If you want to see these combos in action, check out my channel where I've posted some Kukulkan gameplay video that might demonstrate these strategies in real matches. And consider following me on Twitch for live gameplay. It's a bit of a different experience from the YouTube videos, leaning heavily on play-by-play commentary. Also a great way to ask questions directly, so I hope to see you in my next Twitch stream. Now that you know how to play Kukulkan, let's go over where you should be playing him. Kukulkan is one of the best mid lane mages thanks to his strong wave clear, poke, and teamfight presence. Whirlwind allows him to clear waves safely, while Zephyr lets him pressure enemy laners from a distance. His mana scaling passive ensures that he gets stronger as the game progresses, making him a late game powerhouse. Kukulkan lacks the tankiness and sustain needed for solo lane. While he can clear waves, he struggles in extended fights against cruisers and is an easy target for ganks. The majority of Kukulkan's damage will be through abilities and not basic attack focused, which means he lacks the consistent auto attack damage required for ADCs. His lack of mobility makes him easy to punish in the duel as well. Kukulkan lacks mobility, burst, and early game pressure, making him a poor choice for the jungle. His zoning tools don't fit the aggressive, fast-paced playstyle required for success in the jungle. And finally, Kukulkan offers zero frontline presence, no hard crowd control, and no utility to protect his team. He is entirely damage focused, making him unsuitable as a support. Now, I can't give you an exact build for Kukulkan as items in SMITE 2 often go through changes and fall in and out of the meta, but I can tell you which stats to focus on and suggest some core items. Kukulkan thrives on intelligence, cooldown reduction, and penetration. Thoth, Doomorb, and Polynomicon are all fantastic intelligence options that will boost your damage and ability synergy, with Book of Thoth being absolutely core due to his synergy with mana. For cooldown reduction, items like Soul Gem, Gem of Focus, and Chronos Pendant will ensure Kukulkan can use his abilities as often as possible. And finally, for penetration, items like Rod of Tahuti, Obsidian Shard, and Totem of Death will all allow him to deal devastating damage even against some of the tankier targets. Now remember that these items are just suggestions, as they depend on variables such as your situation, team composition, and enemy team. If you want a completed build or have any questions, feel free to join the Discord server where I or other community members can help you. And if you want some non-toxic friends to play SMITE with, our Discord server is a perfect place for you. Now before I let you go, I wanted to bring up a couple of tips and tricks that would help you the next time you decide to pick Kukulkan. Tip number 1 is always prioritize mana-based items to take full advantage of Kukulkan's passive. The more mana you build, the higher your intelligence scales, allowing you to snowball into late game with devastating power. Without a proper mana pool, you'll be missing out on a huge chunk of your potential damage, so stacking mana early is key with items like Book of Thoth. Positioning is crucial. Kukulkan lacks hard escapes, so staying too close to enemies can lead quickly into death. Always use Whirlwind to create space and Slipstream to reposition when necessary. A good Kukulkan player will always hover at the edge of a fight, damage from a safe distance and never overcommitting. When using Spirit of the Nine Winds, patience is key. The ability has a long wind-up time and missing it can be costly. Try to use it when enemies are slowed, rooted, or trapped into tight corners. To maximize your chances of hitting multiple targets, it's also an excellent tool for punishing grouped up enemies. So look for moments when opponents cluster together in fights. And my last tip is to always be spamming abilities. You have access to 3 damaging abilities if you count your ultimate, but specifically your Zephyr and Whirlwind should always be used. Especially if you're going to be purchasing cooldown reduction like we mentioned earlier, you're going to want to constantly use it to not only damage the enemy, but peel for your allies with the slow or just the immense damage that the Whirlwind would do. Place it in corridors going into the jungle or to zone for objectives. Just always use your abilities as long as you're at a safe distance. And that's it, you've reached the end of my Kukulkan guide. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to check out my other SMITE 2 guides and subscribe for more content. If you have any questions, join my Discord for more tips and a friendly community of SMITE players. And finally, follow me on Twitch if you want to watch me play SMITE live or ask questions directly. Thanks for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next one. Love you. Bye!